How's it going, you sexy beasts? Today marks the release of the second performance update, and with it, a massive amount of weapon tweaks and balances, totaling to over 10,000 words worth of patch notes. This patch pretty much encompasses every balance tweak you would expect ever since progress was halted for the original performance update. Namely, a Zealot overdrive engine rework, reduction in hip cone of fire for light machine guns, as well as plenty of vehicle weapon changes. Also with this patch, we've got the implementation of the holiday season, which adds in a new snowball gun that acts exactly like the flare gun from the 4th of July event, as well as some snowmen on Esamir. Since this patch's notes are immense in size, the forum thread will be posted in the description below if you wish to read all the changes for yourself. I strongly urge you to do so since a lot of weapons have been changed and I won't be covering every single aspect of this patch. Make sure your favorite gun hasn't been changed, and if it has, make sure that you adapt. I'll also post some timestamps in the description below as well if you are looking for a specific change. With having said that, let's go ahead and jump in this absolutely insane patch that is Performance Update number 2 with my coverage. Let's go ahead and start off with the performance bit of this update, which is going to help a little bit in the frame rate department, but nowhere near as good as our last patch. The continent of Esamir has been revamped to optimize the total number of unique objects placed around the world, as well as lowering the polygon count and objects overall. This should give everyone a bit of performance boost for not having to draw as many objects at once. The largest reason for crashing has been lessened, which was the total amount of memory that Planetside 2 would hit your computer's maximum amount, and the game would just immediately crash since all memory was being used. The holiday seasonal event has hit the servers, and it features a pretty unique aspect for once, instead of just being a holiday themed depot items. This go around, our C4 charges have been turned into little packaged gifts. Also scattered around on Esamir, there are snowmen created by the nanites that be, and once killed will give a nice sum of experience points. There's rumor of a golden snowman, which grants an even larger bonus of experience once filled with lead. With the holiday season, there are going to be plenty of sales on the depot. These range from entire sections of the store being discounted by 50%, such as assault rifles being discounted by half for a full day. Coupled with these sales, daily sales will be sold for 99 station cash, and daily member sales will be a total of 1 station cash, regardless of their original price. Meaning, you might have a chance to pick up a commissioner pistol for literally a single penny. On to some quality of life changes, as there are a few things to note. First of all, the no fall damage taken from falling a distance under 100 meters is now fixed, so I'm probably going to have to readjust to not jumping off of cliffs and surviving. Tank mines should now properly explode when vehicles drive over them. I'm looking at you, harassers. Liberator Biolab exploit has been fixed. Iron sight glitch, namely Terran Republic submachine guns and carbines, have been fixed. This glitch would cause the weapon to have a really weird recoil pull after the first shot and quickly recenter itself. If you've redeployed, you can now spawn on other continent warp gates instead of spawning at your current continent's warp gate and taking the transition monitors to your wanted destination. This is a pretty neat change and should help a lot once an alert pops up so you don't have to spend as much downtime. Squad leaders now have the option to highlight a capture point to better denote an area of importance. Doing so requires the squad leader to hover over the capture point icon, hold the spot key, and select the capture point indicator. The capture point progress bar should now also update every half a second instead of every 2 seconds, making the progress bar fill up at a much steadier pace. Warp gates have finally been rotated, which should give us all a new change of scenery. The Freyr amp station on Esamir has been given a complete overhaul, making it the most unique facility on the continent. The change includes a total of 3 capture points, which each one will yield the holder's faction a spawn room, meaning Freyr could be an amazing 3-way giggity if all 3 factions own their own capture point, which will in turn secure them a hard spawn point without having to rely on a Sunderer. On to the vehicle changes, and there are plenty of them to cover. These changes mainly cover specific weapons, but I'll just do a general rundown on what exactly is changing. The Harasser is getting toned down a lot. Turbo on the Harasser takes 5 more seconds to fill up completely, as well as burning out much faster on a full turbo tank, which now takes 2.25 seconds to go through a fully charged turbo boost. Composite armor has been reduced from 20% additional resistance from all damage to a single 8% reduced damage from everything except C4. A lot of vehicle weapons are being buffed to deal more damage to the lightly armored vehicles. These include the M20 Basilisk, the M40 Fury grenade launcher, the P525 Marauder grenade launcher, the C85 canister piece of crap, and the Proton PPA. Lightly armored vehicles include the Flash, ATV, the Harasser, and Empire-specific fighters. Weapons available to the Harasser are being turned to Harasser-specific variants, making them much less effective at range and doing slightly less damage in comparison to their tank versions. Namely, the tank halberd will deal enough damage to one-shot infantry, whereas the Harasser version will not take out infantry with a direct hit. Couple that with the Flak Armor Edition, which I will discuss a little bit later, is making anti-vehicle weapons much less effective at engaging infantry. Also, the Vulcan has had its damage reduced across the board, making it less effective at both close and long range. Nose guns for Empire-specific fighters are being reduced in their effectiveness against both infantry and heavy armor. Lightnings and main battle tanks are going to be 20% more resistant to ESF nose cannons, making them much harder to destroy with one of those nose guns. Rotaries are getting reduced damage across the board to help bring them in line with the starter nose guns, while also getting a slightly longer reload, which is generally a fourth of a second, so I don't think you're going to be noticing it that much. Prowler Anchor mode has had its projectile speed bonus reduced by half, making the maximum certification rank increase projectile speed by 30% in total. This change is to alleviate the anchored Prowler from swatting away air with ease, or for sniping infantry from longer ranges. Hopping over to some infantry changes, and this is where the meat of the changes are going to be. Like I've said before, go ahead and check out the patch notes for yourself to see if your favorite weapons have been changed. So starting off with light machine guns, I think these have been reworked the most. Their hipfire, conofire have been reduced pretty hard across the board to make them feel more like light machine guns. Also, any weapon with a 0.75 times move speed multiplier has also been given some more identifying factors to help give trade-offs for the increased aim down sight move speed. Examples of these types of weapons include the NS-11A, the Orion LMG for the VS, the TAR assault rifle for the TR, and the Carnage BR for the new conglomerate. These changes include more horizontal, vertical, and first shot recoil, while also getting a slight reduction in hipfire accuracy, as well as longer reloads to offset the move speed bonus. Also, the laser sight attachment can no longer make your weapon become as accurate from the hip in comparison to a weapon of a different hipfire accuracy tier. This means that the laser sight, in conjunction with the LMG hipfire nerf, makes light machine guns extremely lackluster in hipfire scenarios. I'm sorry for any MSWR users. For some more specific weapon changes, the new conglomerate's 200 damage Reaper DMR assault rifle and ACX-11 carbine have been given a little bit of love with an increased magazine size of 4 more rounds, bringing the total capacity to 24 bullets. Aim to accuracy while standing have also been improved, while also giving a slightly longer reload time to match the increased magazine size. Only other big change is that all burst-only variants of weapons are being given a moderate increase to accuracy, while also getting a slight reduction to recoil, making these weapons slightly more on par with other weapons. Keep in mind that they are still limited to burst fire only, and are still pretty much worthless in this game. Also, Vonu Sovereignty slug-loaded shotguns now have bullet drop to help balance them out in comparison to the other two factions. There's a few sniper rifle changes that have come in this patch, but it's not a lot to write home about. There's now a range limitation on certain bolt-action sniper rifles, which prevent them from getting a guaranteed one-hit kill headshot at certain distances. These include the short-range bolt actions such as the NC's SASR, the TR's TSAR-42, and the VS's Ghost, which will one-hit kill on a headshot out to 200 meters. These 3 bolt actions also have no weapon sway when using a 4x scope and below. The medium-range bolt-action sniper rifles, such as the NC's Bolt Driver, the TR's M77B, and the VS's VM98, now have a range limitation of 250 meters for one-hit kill headshots. Long-range sniper rifles, such as the NC's Longshot, the TR's Rams 50, and the VS's Parallax, now have a limiting range of 300 meters, which is generally the render distance for infantry anyway. All close-range semi-automatic sniper rifles, such as the NC's Impetus, the TR KSR-35, and VS Phantom, now also have no weapon sway when using optics of 4x magnification and lower. There's a new lock-on mechanic in place that essentially makes your lock-on rocket launcher acquire a dedicated lock against the target in a much faster manner if the target is close to you. At longer distances, the launcher will take a longer time to acquire a target. These lock-on times can vary between a second to 2.5 seconds, which all depends on your particular launcher and distance. Engineer's anti-vehicle Mana turret had its projectile lifespan reduced from 15 seconds to 10 seconds, which will essentially limit itself to match the actual render distance of the AV turret itself, meaning you can no longer make yourself invisible to vehicles and still be able to snipe tanks from a cliffside. Also, the maximum explosive damage caused by this has been halved, making this weapon extremely less effective against infantry. All anti-vehicle weapons available to the mech suit, save for the Vonru Sovereignty's Vortex, have been reduced in effectiveness against infantry by about 30%. This is to help snuff out of the rampant use of fractures and comets on the battlefield, and to make them stick to their designated roles of being anti-vehicular weaponry. Coupled with the Flak Armor Edition, which I will mention in just a second, these things are going to be pretty worthless against infantry targets. On the topics of maxes, the revive time is also being increased. A fully certified heal tool will revive a max in 4.2 seconds, whereas an uncertified heal tool will revive a max in 6 seconds. Positional awareness should be slightly improved this patch, as some of the audio has been reworked to help players pinpoint exactly where they're getting shot from. This includes more distinct audio range and directions from weaponry being fired, as well as projectiles flying by, giving a better sense of directional travel. To top it all off, projectiles' impact audio has had its length reduced, meaning it will be more apparent if you are taking multiple shots, instead of all those multiple shots blending together to sound like you're only taking a single hit. Now, here's the big game changer, Nanoweave armor. This has been completely reworked to give a 20% resistance to all ballistic weaponry, instead of boosting the user's base health. With this rework, it still has the same effectiveness against small arms fire, but will no longer aid in surviving explosives or any other type of damage. Also, the new Nanoweave will not protect your head, meaning the 20% damage resistance will not apply to any damage inflicted by headshots. Snipers, rejoice! Keep in mind that since this is a massive change to Nanoweave armor, if you've spent any certs on the Nanoweave armor certification, you will be refunded for any of those spent certs. Due to Nanoweave no longer giving health, the maximum damage of proximity-triggered explosives, such as TR Claymores, NC Bouncing Betties, and VS Proximity Mines, have been lowered to the standard 1000. On the topic of armor, the Flak Armor cert has been changed a bit as well, and now offers protection from direct impact explosives as well as radial explosions. Meaning Flak Armor will now protect you from underbarrel grenades, rocket launcher, phalanx cannons, tank shells, and even rocket pods if they were to directly impact your soldier. Personally, I will now be using Flak Armor on all of my characters from here on out, as I'd love to be more resilient against Fury harassers and the likes. Last thing to note, and I saved the best for last, is the change to the Vonru Sovereignty's Zealot Overdrive engine. Previously, there was no reason to not have this equipped on your max, as it was a straight up buff to both damage and speed, with a slight increase to damage taken, which was negligible since you would move so damn fast. The ZOE has been changed from a toggle on or off ability to a single button press buff that lasts for 15 seconds, which increases your speed as well as damage dealt and taken. Certifying more into the Zealot Overdrive engine further reduces the cooldown period while also reducing the added damage taken. At level 3 of the Zealot Overdrive engine, you'll be taking the same amount of damage as you would previously. This also means that level 4 and 5 will be more resilient to damage than previously. A fully certified ZOE will reduce the cooldown of the ability to 30 seconds, which means that you can have the buff for 15 seconds and have a 15-second downtime in between. Since the ZOE has been overhauled so much, all certs spent into the Zealot Overdrive engine have been refunded. So there you have it, you sexy beasts, the meat of performance update number 2, bringing an absolute massive amount of weapon changes, max reworks, and all around awesomeness in regards to the numbers game. Generally, I'm very excited about this patch as it addresses most of my concerns with the current state of the game. What are your favorite parts of the patch? Let me know in the comment section below. My personal favorites have got to be the ZOE rework, the reduction in AV max damage against infantry, as well as additional resistance flak armor now provides. If you either enjoyed this video or found it informative, please give it a big ass thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like these, then go ahead and subscribe. It's free.